Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. I think the last time I posted a video might have been June of last year. And that was right when everything changed. I didn't feel like sharing for some reason. I did not want to share. And that's why I stopped making videos. But I have been wanting to get back to this for a while now. And I'm just happy I'm finally doing it. I had said my first video was going to be about my experience going to my first festival sober, but I haven't had a chance to record that, and today I am actually celebrating a year since I was baptized, and I really wanted to record a podcast today about that because this morning I was just reflecting. I hadn't journaled in a while, so I journaled today. And I was just reflecting over everything that has happened in the past year. And it's just insane because there was no way I would believe I'd be where I am today a year ago. It's just so crazy where I was a year ago to where I am today. This past year has been full of just growth and so much transformation. It is insane. When I really sit down and think about it, it is insane. So anyways, this morning, like I said, I was journaling, and I was just going through my Snapchat memories and my Instagram stories just to kind of piece what my year looked like and all the special moments and all the times I was struggling with something. So I wrote everything down, and I kind of just want to go over that just to show you guys how much changed in the past year. Okay, let me see. So a year ago today, I made the decision to surrender my life to God completely. Surrender my life completely. And I had no idea what that meant, but I knew I was ready to make that commitment. And I had no idea that yes would lead me to where it has. It's just insane. Okay, let me see. A year ago I was so lost. I had no motivation. Time was just passing me by. Yeah, a year ago. Okay, well, I was actually recording a podcast a year ago today. Because I started in January, and I recorded at least 6, I think. So I was going through a lot in that time, but I was just I don't think I was really speaking on it because I was just so lost. I wasn't happy where I was at. And I think that's why I started the podcast, because I just needed something, right? So in April, I had already ended my previous situationship, because I wouldn't even call it a relationship. I had ended that in February, so this was already 2 months after that, but I was still in contact with him. I was still very much attached to him. And I was going out, I was drinking, I was crying because I was sad about that breakup. I knew that wasn't it for me, but I was just so attached that it was so hard for me to let go. So my baptism was April 14th. April 26th, I got into a really bad argument with my dad. Really, really bad. And I remember I cried so much. Not me getting emotional. I cried so much, and my instinct was to run to that person that I had just been in a relationship with. So I called him, and he wasn't available for me. So I was like, okay, that's fine. Hung up. The only other men I could have ran to also couldn't be there for me. So I remember I was sitting on this couch in the dark and I was just crying because I was just so used to running to the men in my life, and the only two men I had, they couldn't be there for me. So I just felt like I felt so alone. Like, I remember that day I heard God talk to me. Like, he said, run to me. And I was just like what? I remember I got in bed and I just kept crying. And at this point, I still hadn't opened my Bible. Like, I've owned my Bible since it was gifted to me, I think, in like 2018 or 2019. And not once opened it. And I remember specifically that night, I felt the urge to, but I fought it off. I didn't do it. I took myself to bed and I just cried myself to sleep. But I feel like that night was like a huge milestone, because it was like God literally made these men unavailable for me because he wanted me to go to him instead. And I just remember, like, I'm telling you, I remember just hearing him say to me, like, run to me. On May 13, I spoke to a friend. I had just met this friend. He, like, that's how I know all of this was just meant to be, because God brought the right people into my life last year to make everything happen. So I met this guy earlier in the year. I don't know the date, but on May 13, I invited him to lunch with me, or breakfast actually. I invited him to breakfast. And I kind of told him, that was the first time I told someone that I thought I wanted to start my own company. And I honestly was just looking for support. Like, I just wanted to know that someone would be there for me if I needed the help, because I didn't know what me leaving the company I was with was going to mean. I didn't know how that was going to end, if it was going to be ugly, if it was going to be okay, like if I was still going to have their support. Like, I wanted to be ready in case it all just went downhill. I went and had breakfast with him, and he didn't even know me. He didn't know me. We had met once prior to this. But I told him, and he said I had his support, that whatever I needed, he would help me. And I was just like, that's literally all I needed to hear. On May 20th, I found an online Monday Zoom Bible study, and I joined it because it was an ad on Instagram. Because okay, so if y'all watch my previous videos, I made a video about this women's conference I went to that I also saw the ad on Instagram, and I just felt like I should go. And that conference, when I went, I was already like thinking about leaving and starting my own company. So that conference kind of gave me like, it gave me some confidence to do it. And and then afterwards I went and spoke to my friend, my now friend. He wasn't my friend then. He was basically a stranger. May 20, I logged into this Zoom Bible study for the first time. And this Bible study was a huge part of my whole journey transformation. It was a huge part of all of this, because I remember specifically that Bible study, it was for entrepreneurs, and it spoke about, if you surrender your life to God, you should surrender your business as well. And I remember I thought to myself, well, I can't surrender the business because it's not all mine. Like, I don't have full control of it. So that was already planting seeds, or that was already like, it was like reinforcing what I already felt. Like, I already had the feeling that I should leave and do my own thing. So then this Bible study was just like, yes, like you just surrendered your life, surrender your business as well. On that Bible study, I remember the guy hosting it said this specific line. He said, the second half will be greater. He was like, I don't know who this is for, but just know the second half will be greater. And I literally just took it. I was like, the second half of the year will be greater. Like, we were already like almost halfway through. We were in May, late May. And I was claiming it. I was like, yes, the second half of this year will be greater. So then came May 23rd. And Shoreline hosted Orchid Night. And it was my first Orchid Night because I just had joined that church December of 2023. So I attended my first Orchid Night. And that night, I basically got confirmation that I should go through with this, because I was just fighting it for so long. Like every Sunday that I was at service, I was bawling my eyes out because I was so scared to take the step. Like I felt like I should, but I was just so scared, and that's why I wanted that support. That's why I went and had breakfast with that friend, because I just wanted that support. And then Orchid Night, I went with my best friend Mari and Jasmine, and I kind of just cried, and I told them that what was going on with me, and they were like, do it. And I remember specifically the pastor saying there's breakthrough on the other side of this fire. And yeah, that night I got the confirmation to do it. I was like, I'm gonna do it. So on May 25th, I went to a festival. I went to Abu Dhabi. I was kind of testing myself to see if I would behave, and I completely failed. I blacked out Saturday, and I felt like shit Sunday. I still went to church because I was already like consistently going to church. So I was like, I'm not going to miss church just because I went to this festival. So I still went to church Sunday, and I had decided I wasn't going to go to the second day, to Sunday. But I got convinced, and I ended up going. And I was like, okay, well, today I'm going to be chill, and I'm not going to drink a lot. I blacked out again. Literally June 1st, I told my ex-business partner that I was leaving. And on June 2nd, we had worship night at Shoreline. I think it was like a weekday. I don't know if it was Wednesday or Thursday. But I went to worship night, and I literally felt so much relief. Like, because all that built-up anxiety was literally gone. Like, I had made my decision. I had made it official by letting him know that I was leaving. And I remember I went to worship night with my friend Brenda, and yeah, I felt relief, and I felt excited for the second half of the year. Like, I was excited. Like, I didn't know what that was going to mean. On June 7th, I officially got my LLC. So I didn't write down when I came up with the name, but I remember it was late at night. I was on my phone, and I was talking to ChatGPT about what I should name my company. I knew I wanted it to be obvious that it was a faith-based company. So I asked ChatGPT to give me ideas of names for my roofing company that would lead with faith. Like, I wanted it to be very known that my company was faith-based. And it was just giving me a bunch of names. And I remember it said Celestial, and I was like, I kind of like that. And I was like, let me Google the definition of Celestial. Really quick, I'm going to tell y'all how I decided with Celestial. So, I Googled Celestial, the definition of Celestial. And it says, belonging or relating to heaven, or something supremely good. And I was like, I like that because it's something really good and it's something relating to heaven. And I was like, I could change the C to an S for Sylvia. So I'll make it unique because it's going to be celestial spelled with an S. Like no one else is going to do that. Because I was like, I'm sure there's other. I looked it up and there's a celestial roofing company in another state. So I was like, if I change it to an S, like that's what's going to make it unique. That's what's going to make it mine. No one else is going to have that. So that's how I came up with the name Celestial Roofing. And so on June 7th, I registered my LLC. And I actually went on a date that day as well with a guy I had met maybe a week prior, while being out drinking. Because I was still, like, I had already calmed down because if y'all remember the old Sylvia, I was drinking every weekend, like Friday, Saturday, sometimes even Sunday fun day. So I had already calmed down because I was already living here. Yeah, I moved back home and I calmed down a lot, but I was still, every now and then I was going out to drink. So I was out with my friends that night and I met this guy. And I hit it off with him and we went on a date. So on June 7th, I got my LLC and I went on a date with this guy. And it went good. Like, I was really nervous because I hadn't been on a date in forever. Like, I had been in that situationship for like over a year. And I just hadn't really dated. So I went on this date and I remember I was so nervous. But we started drinking, so I wasn't as nervous anymore. And we had a really good night. It was really good. Like, here's the thing. I get my hopes. I'm a little delusional, okay? When I meet someone and I like them, y'all are gonna think I'm crazy. I start picturing a whole life with them. Like, my head just goes places it doesn't need to, and that's why I get attached to the wrong people. So I met this guy, and I we had a really nice first date. So I was like, what if this is something, right? But I was like, no, stop it. You always do this. Like, don't do that. So I was trying really hard not to. So I remember I prayed. I prayed that prayer where you ask God to remove the person if they're not meant for you. If they're not, I was like, if this is not the person for me, please remove them. Let's see. Okay, so this is my journal. Let's go back to, when did I say? June 7th. Because I literally wrote it on my journal. Let me see. OMG, that's why I love journaling. That's why I encourage people to journal, because then you can go back and see the stuff you were doing. Okay, so it's actually, I went on a date with this guy, and on June 10th was when I asked God to remove him if he wasn't it. So, yeah, I said, que se haga tu voluntad, no la mía. Yo sé que el hombre que tú tienes para mí no me tendrá confundida. And this guy literally disappeared. Like, it's crazy. He disappeared. I have no idea what happened. And I was just like, that was God. That was not my person. So, every time I meet someone, have I met someone since then? Have I? I feel like not really. But I'm like, God, if it's not meant to be, remove them from my life. And he did just that. So, on June 12th, I officially opened my business bank account, and I deposited my first check made out to Celestial Roofing. I remember I was so excited. I was so happy. I literally had a whole photo shoot with the check. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, this check is the first check made out to Celestial Roofing. Like, this is huge. Like, so much happened in June. Oh my gosh. So much happened in June. Like, I remember when July started and I reflected back on June. I was just like, so much went down, because remember June 1st was the day I told the company I was with that I was leaving. And then June 2nd, I went to worship night. I felt amazing. June 7th, I got my LLC. I went on a date, prayed for the guy to be removed from my life if he wasn't for me. And he was removed. June 12th, I got my business bank account, deposited my first check for Celestial Roofing. On June 12th, I went to my first yoga class with Lydia, and we've been consistent since then. So that started then. June 14th, I went to Red River for M's birthday, and I met another guy. Got really drunk, but I knew I didn't need to get into that. Like, it was a sticky situation that he was in. I was like, I do not need to get involved with that. Like, baby mama drama kind of situation. I was like, nope. I learned my lesson. Nope. So I told him this isn't gonna go anywhere. I'm sorry. On the 17th, I did my first roof under Celestial Roofing, and then on the 21st, I did my second. I remember during this time, I wanted to go out so bad because I was so used to every time something good happened, or anytime anything happened, honestly, I would go out and have a drink, right? I was like, I deserve this for this accomplishment, or I deserve this for getting through this, right? It was always like, regardless if it was a good thing or a bad thing, that was, I would go out for the weekend, right? So I had been wanting to do that. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, all of this is happening. I need to go out and celebrate. But, like, part of me knew that if I did that, I was going to make bad decisions. So I didn't. Instead, I remember one of the nights, I think maybe it was a Friday night, I started getting ready because I was low-key convinced that I was going to go out. And I ended up, like, talking myself out of it. And instead, I went to the movies with my siblings. And then a few other times after that, like, I wanted to go out, and instead I would just go to the gym because I was like, no, like, you don't need to go out. So I was going to the gym instead. And on the 24th, this is still June, on the 24th, I was weak, and I reached out to an old friend. And I made plans to go out with him. And I kept telling myself that I would behave going out with him. That I knew I would drink. So I wasn't telling myself that I wasn't, because I knew I would. But I kept telling myself that I wouldn't drink too much, that I would behave. But I knew I was playing with fire. Like, I feel like part of me knew that I wasn't gonna behave. But I still wanted to do it because it was just like, it was exciting. Like, that's what I was used to. Like, I was used to just going out and going with the flow. Like, whatever happens, happens. And so I wanted to do that. I wanted to go out and celebrate everything that was that was happening in my life. And this was an old friend, and I just wanted to have a good time. And tell me why he canceled on me and never rescheduled. And I was like, God just knew that if I had gone out, it wouldn't have been great. I would have, like, fell back into, like, just old habits. So I knew that was God too. That same day I learned about the Esther fast. Like, I had heard about fasting, but I didn't really know what it meant. And then I came across a video on Instagram. I'm telling you, it's always Instagram. This girl, her name is Vanity, I think. She was talking about the Esther fast, and she was gonna do it. She was gonna be on live doing it to, like, encourage people to do it with her. And I was like, let me take this as a sign, and I'm gonna do it with her. So I did my first Esther fast the 27th through the 29th. So this is how I ended June. I read the book of Esther. It was the first book I read from the Bible. So those 3 days she was on live for for hours because she was just trying to get through the fast as well, and it was nice because it was like a community. Like there was a bunch of us logged in and watching the live with her, and just we read Esther and we were just talking about temptation and stuff. So it was literally perfect timing because that week I had been tested so bad. Like I was being tempted so bad. So I did my fast, and that was like the main purpose of it. Let me see my notes. Actually, it's in this journal. My first fast. I've posted some of this on my Instagram. That day one, like that was literally the main topic about that fast. Well, for me, like I remember I wrote why was I fasting, and it was to fully surrender, to be led by the Spirit and not my flesh, to trust myself, to start reading the Bible, for clarity and confidence with my new company, for patience, for boldness, boldness to, and a voice to spread the word. Like I wanted God to use me, and I was just asking for boldness in that, and just to fully surrender, like to fully surrender and be led by my Spirit, and I am telling you that fast literally did change everything. It Because I love food. That was the first time I had ever fasted. I did over 72 hours. I fasted for over 72 hours, just water. I had never done that. So it was hard. It was hard, but I was committed, and that really like changed everything for me. It made it so much easier for me to say no to things that usually I couldn't. Like I always knew I was very easily influenced, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. There was so much wrong with that. I even wrote it here. The one, let's see. I wrote, when you're fully committed, you are not easily influenced. You are not moved by anything of this world. You are led by your spirit, not your flesh. You walk with confidence because you know the God you serve. You love others and you love them well. The one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. When you are not fully committed, you are still easily influenced by this world. There's no trust, confidence in yourself. You remain double-minded and unstable in all that you do. And that just really hit me, because that's when I realized how I didn't trust myself, how I was easily influenced and like easily blown and tossed by the wind. Like it just made me realize how bad that actually was, when before I would just like I didn't think anything of it. I was just like it was fun. Like I don't know, like like I admittedly knew, like I would admit I'm easily influenced, and I saw nothing wrong with it. So yeah, this fast, my first fast, and like it really broke me out of that, of like being able to deny my flesh. Right here I wrote how intensity is usually masked. Intensity is masked as intimacy. Our soul was created for intimacy and true connection. When we don't have it, we confuse intensity for it. And I was just like, wow. Like, the relationship prior to that situationship was very toxic. It was very intense. So I feel like I was used to that, to the intensity. And I did confuse intensity for intimacy. So I had the wrong idea about love, for sure. I wrote, learn to call it. That intensity I am drawn to right now is not the intimacy my soul was created for. And I was just like, mind blown. Find that intimacy in other ways, like friendships or conversations, etc. And I was just like, wow. Transformation is the goal. You are allowed to have an opinion today that changes tomorrow. Singleness is only selfish when you make it about you. Singleness is sacred when you make it about God. You don't need permission to do anything you want. You don't need to be married to start living your dreams. I am single today, and the way I feel about it is a direct result of the way I think about it. So, this also, like, again, like, I was still, like, in contact with that ex. I was going out, I was meeting guys, so I still very much was seeking validation or looking for someone to fill that void. So I knew for this fast, like, I wanted to, like, fully surrender, like I had already been baptized, right? But okay, people have the wrong idea about what being baptized means, and this is why I'm making that other episode about that guy that DM'd me, because the things he said to me, I was just like, what? Being baptized doesn't mean you're perfect. You don't have to be perfect to get baptized. Getting baptized is a symbol of you surrendering, like wanting to be made new, wanting that transformation. You don't come to it already perfect, and because you get baptized doesn't make you perfect either. Like, I made so many mistakes. Like, this is June. I got baptized in April. June, I was still making a lot of mistakes. And this wasn't the end of it. We're still in June, remember. We're still in June. I wrote, I get drunk to get out of my head. I was sitting here thinking about giving up being drunk, which made me think, what about it do I like? Why don't I want to give it up? Getting drunk has been an escape for me from my head, thoughts, and insecurities. I like to drink to get lost. I like to drink to feel comfortable. Like, that's why I've always liked drinking, because I'm so shy, and that's why I always would drink, because when I would drink, this whole other side of me would come out. I was so bold and not shy at all, and I loved drunk me. So I wrote, how can I start to achieve that without the alcohol? Like, I think that's what it was. I just lacked confidence. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. And that is why I was seeking validation from the wrong men. I was seeking relationships that weren't good for me. So see, this was all going on during this fast. I was having so much breakthrough during this. There's a lot. I'll make a different podcast about fasting, and I'll go deeper into this, because we're still in June. I think it was July 1st. I had a really deep conversation with my sisters about God, and they admitted wanting to get closer. And that night I literally cried, because I was just like, oh my gosh, I've been praying for this for so long. And just having that conversation with them, I was just like, wow, like, prayer really does work. And then that night was when I reflected over all of June, and I literally just stayed up crying, like bawling my eyes out and writing everything that had happened in June. I was just like, wow. In July, I still went out twice. I went out twice and got really drunk. See? I was still making mistakes. I was still doing it. July 28th, I served for the first time at Shoreline City. I serve in the littles team, so I watch 2-year-olds while their parents are at service. So I actually really enjoy it. Like, I love the little 2-year-olds. I've been with the older kids, and they're not as fun. I just love the 2-year-olds. Then August 1st was when I first announced Celestial Roofing, because I started it in June, but I didn't make it official to the public until August 1st. So that's when I officially announced it. And then in August, a friend invited me out. A friend I hadn't seen since high school invited me out, and I was like, you know what? Yes, I do want to go out. Like, I need to celebrate. I just announced my company. Like, I've been wanting to celebrate and I haven't. So I went out with him and it was supposed to just be a concert with some drinks, of course. It ended up being a night out. It ended up being us out all night till 5 in the morning because we went from one thing to another to another. And of course, it was me. I was just like, "There's afters. I know where there's, I know where the afters are at." So we went to an after. Afters aren't over till 5 in the morning, and this was a Saturday. I still went to church that Sunday. I went to church with only an hour of sleep or something. Wild, but I was like, I'm not missing church because of this. Because I was like, no, I already went and made the mistakes I made. I am not gonna miss church because of it. So I still went to church, and I still got drunk one more time in August. But that was actually the last time I've been drunk. That it's crazy. I realized that this morning when I was going through this. I don't know the date for it, but in August was the last time I was drunk. September 1st, I went out with my friends from Austin and I stayed sober. And that was my first time being out with my friends sober while they were drinking. And I was kind of just testing myself, like testing how I would feel being around them, being drunk. Also testing them to see how they would react, if they would peer pressure me or if they would respect my decision. And I was really happy that they did. Because I didn't know, like going into all of this, I knew a lot of things were changing in me, and I wasn't okay with a lot of things, and I wanted to stop drinking, and I didn't know if that was gonna mean me losing friendships, because a lot of my friendships revolved around drinking and raves. And so I was really scared that I was going to lose some of these friends. And so going out with them and staying sober and them respecting that and me still having a good time made me really happy. And it just showed me that they were really my friends. So then September 27 through 29, I did my second fast. So this girl that introduced me into fasting, she does it every quarter, and I loved the idea of that because I was like, it's just kind of like a reset, because like to like just like reel you back in, like, hey, like regrounding, like I thought it was a great idea, like just to reground yourself, like bring you back if you like started to drift away. So I did my second fast then. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, they're over here. So my second fast. Oh, I remember this. So, why am I fasting? To reground, to reinstate my full surrender, to show my flesh does not control me, to refocus, for clarity, for wisdom, on what my next steps were. And yeah, this one was a little hard. I spoke about it a little bit on Instagram because I agreed to go to the fair. A fair had just opened. I think it was day 1 of the fair. And I didn't realize it was also day 1 of my fast. So I literally went to the fair and ate nothing. I just got on the rides and drank water while my friend ate all the food, had all the drinks, and I just watched her. So that was crazy, but I did it because I was like, I gave my word to God and I'm not gonna break it. So I was also asking God for something during this fast, and I trust He will give me this thing when the time is right. Day 2, I remember I went to the park. I have a favorite spot at a park over by my last apartment, where I just love going and laying under the trees So I went there, and during this time I was watching The Chosen. I had just started watching The Chosen, and it was just so amazing because I was already reading my Bible consistently, right? Um, and watching The Chosen, because I was reading the Gospels. Watching The Chosen just gave me a visual of everything I was reading, and it was just so beautiful because, like, I knew the general story of Jesus, but I didn't know it in depth. I didn't know the details. I didn't know all the miracles he did and stuff. So I remember I was out there. I read my Bible. I had my slack line probably. I don't remember. I usually take my slack line when I go out there. And I was watching The Chosen, and it was showing when Jesus walks on water. And that scene, if you haven't watched The Chosen, you need to. That scene literally made me bawl my eyes out whenever it shows, who is it? Peter? That is, he takes his eyes off Jesus and starts drowning. And then when it shows his hand reach into the water and grab him, it's just like it hits so hard. I literally was bawling my eyes out, and he's like, "Why did you look away? Like, why'd you stop trusting?" And I was like, I literally was just sitting there in the middle of a park, in the middle like of like just there by myself, surrounded by trees. I love. There's just something about me laying on the ground on grass and staring up at trees that just, I love it. Actually haven't done it in a while. I need to go do that. So that was my second fast ever. Again, I'll do a different episode about this because I'm getting too much into that. So I did my second fast, September 27 through 29. September 30th, I started training again with Vanessa. I've been consistently doing that since then, and I've seen a lot of progress in my body, which I love because I've been working out since 2020, and after a while I got stuck. But it was because I wasn't pushing myself anymore. So I started training with Vanessa, and it's been great. Like, I hadn't talked to Vanessa in years, so I feel like God also just brought us together again for a reason. Like, look at what if I hadn't gone back to training, like, move in faith wouldn't be a thing. And, like, she's such a big part of my life right now that I'm so grateful for her. So yeah, like September 30th, I started training with her. So I see her more than once a week because it used to be once a week because we train once a week, and then we started doing Bible study together. So it was twice a week, and now we have Move in Faith, so we see each other 3 times a week. In October is when I started being consistent with my Bible. Because I remember I went to the 6th. They had just launched the 6 young adults Bible study at Shoreline, and I went, and they told us to read Mark, and that's when I read my second book of the Bible. Because I was reading my Bible just referencing to verses and just reading a little bit, but other than Esther, I hadn't read any other book, and then I read Mark. I remember now. And then I slowly started trying to be consistent because I fall off and then I start again. Right now I'm doing really good. So again, this is not a perfect journey. You're gonna fall. You're gonna make mistakes. It's just about coming back, realizing what you did, going to God about it, hey, I know I fucked up. But help me. And that's what I do every time. So I started reading my Bible on October 29. I announced Roofs of Kindness. That is something I had been wanting to do for years, since I was at the other company. It was an idea I had, and that was one of the reasons why I left, because I had so many ideas. I wanted to do things certain ways, and I didn't have full control, and things weren't happening the way I wanted them to, and that's why I knew I needed to go on my own, because I was I want to do things a certain way. Like I wanted to surrender it all to God, and God wanted me to do this, and so I announced it October 29. Usually New Year's Eve I spend it at Lights All Night at a rave. This last New Year's Eve I spent it at church, which was a first. I went, had a great time. I went with my friend Camille, and I had a great time. And then I vowed I would give 2025 to God. Like I would surrender 2025 to God. And with that, I vowed to not put anything in my body, not in any substance. I said I wouldn't drink, I wouldn't smoke, I wouldn't do any type of drug. I had been struggling with vaping for a while, like trying to quit, but then I would go and buy it. Every time I would stress, I would go and buy one. So New Year's Eve, I did have a glass of wine that day while cleaning, and I hit my vape for the last time. It was I hadn't finished that vape. I had just bought it like a week prior, and I threw it away. It still had more than half of the juice, and I threw it away because when I vow something to God, I've been really good about keeping my word. I take that very seriously. So I was like, nope, I threw it away. And so although I haven't been drunk since August, I have had a few drinks here and there because I think during Thanksgiving I had a shot. Christmas I didn't drink, I don't think. But New Year's Eve I had a glass of wine. So it's been a little bit over 4 months of me being completely sober from everything. And that's insane because I hadn't been sober from anything since I was maybe 18, maybe even before, but 18 is when I started smoking weed. I started drinking, but I wasn't a big drinker. I was just a huge pothead. And I've actually haven't smoked weed in over a year. It's been like a year and 3 months of no weed. And a little bit over 4 months, no alcohol, no vaping, no party favors. just Jesus. June 5th, I started the year good. June 5th, I did my first 5K for Mari's birthday, which I was so proud of myself because that had been on my bucket list for a minute, so I got to scratch that off. June 21st, I had lunch with Gabe about him joining the team, and he's been part of it ever since, which that was like a huge thing too. So that happened June 21st. February 26th, I went to my first Christian concert. I went to go see Elevation Worship, which was amazing. Like, I bawled my eyes out so much. It was just so beautiful. It was everything. March 10, we announced Move in Faith, which is a workout class me and Vanessa are doing every Saturday morning, completely free, just to encourage women to move and just to build community. Just like it's been amazing. We've met 3 times and we have a group chat. I had been wanting to start something. It's a connect group for Shoreline, and I had felt it, like God calling me to do that for a while, and I wasn't being obedient. That's something I struggle with sometimes, not being obedient. Like, God puts things in my heart, and I kind of just brush them off because I'm like, no, I can't do that. And he's like, no, yes, you can. So after a while, I finally gave in, and I talked to Vanessa, and I was like, hey, I think we should do this. Like, we should do this together. And we did, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy we did. March 22nd was our first Move in Faith class. I think the beginning of April. So this month. I officially moved in to my office. I have an office. And then April 8th, we announced that we would be installing our Roof of Kindness roof this Friday, on Good Friday. I had been stalling on that because, remember, I announced it back in November and we chose a winner, I think in January or February, and it's now April and we're just now gonna do it. And that was a whole other thing. I just finished a fast. I just did another fast. This was my third fast. No, this was my fourth fast. And during that fast, I felt like I was being tested on how much I trust God. I remember I was really busy during those 3 days, so it felt like I wasn't doing enough because I was really busy, so I wasn't spending as much time with just God like I had been, setting time apart like during those days to just be with God. So Monday was my day 3 of the fast, and The Chosen is playing at the movie theater, so I was like, that is perfect. That's how I'm gonna end my fast. I'm gonna go watch The Chosen, then I'll come home and it'll be time for me to break my fast, because I was so ready to break my fast. I was so hungry. So I did that. It was my first time going to the movies by myself, and I had been wanting to do that for a while, so I got to check that off my bucket list too. And I was like, how perfect that I'm watching The Chosen and it's day 3 of my fast. So I really loved that, and I was asked a question that night that my instinct was to say no. But it was just stuck in my head, and I was like, I think God's testing me right now. He's testing if I really trust him with my finances. Like, that was the theme of this fast. Trusting him with my finances. And I was really struggling with that question, and I was like, okay, I'll do something. But even that didn't feel right. I needed to give it all. But I was so scared. Because I was like, God, no. Like, that's scary. And I remember that morning I had read my Bible, and it literally said, let me see. During this fast, all I ask is to help me stay in alignment with my purpose. Help me fight off the laziness. Help me be obedient. Thank you for all the blessings and for the trials, for the peace you bring me daily. I owe it all to you, and I surrender it all as well. Give me wisdom and strength to hold and keep my position. I trust you. Search my heart. Show me my weaknesses, my flaws, the things I'm not aware of. So I was reading John 12, and I wrote, we must be willing to die if doing so glorifies God. By laying aside our security and pleasure, we can serve God lovingly and freely. Release control and give it to Christ. Whatever the Father asks, we should do. So I instantly thought about this when I was asked this question, and I feel like I was being tested. Like, do you really trust me with your finances? Because the way I was reacting, I wasn't releasing control. I was holding on to that security. And I got out of the movie and I drove home, and I was just like, is this what you want me to do? Is this a test? And I got home, and I think I was breaking my fast at 10, and I got home like at 9:30. So I came straight to my room because I was like, I still have 30 minutes. Let me just go to my room. And I just started crying because I ended up doing it. I ended up surrendering my finances and trusting that he would provide. Even though it was scary because I didn't didn't look okay at the moment, but I was like, I think you're asking me to do this, so I'm gonna do it. I'm like, I have 30 minutes left of my fast. I'm gonna do what you're asking me to do, and because I trust you. I really do. I came in my room and I just started crying, and I was like, you know how hard this was for me, but I did it. And I told Alexa to play worship music, because I didn't ask for a specific song, so I wanted to see what it would play. And it played Elevation Worship, the song When Air Meets Fire. And it has a lyric. It says, whatever you say is done, whatever you touch will live. And I'm literally in here just bawling my eyes singing that song. And I'm just like whatever you say is done. I was just like, that lyric was just stuck. Whatever you say is done. I was like, I trust you. I had been avoiding scheduling that roof because my finances weren't where I wanted them to be. I knew that if I scheduled this roof, I was paying for, like, I have some sponsors. I'm so grateful for Rafael because he is donating the labor, and that's like a huge chunk of the expense, but I was covering the rest, the material. And although some people have helped, which I'm so appreciative of my friends who are business owners and just my friends in general that have made donations, like, I am so grateful for them. But it was still, a big chunk was still going to come out of my pocket. It's not my money, it's God's money. A big chunk was coming out of that. Because I've been struggling with this for a while. I remember I've talked about it at Bible study so much. And J.R. has called me out. He's like, it's not your money. It's his money. It's his business. If he put this in your heart and he wants this to happen, he's going to make a way. So just do it. Talking about roofs of kindness, because I've been so scared from the beginning, because I'm like, I don't have the money to do this. But I know God wants me to do this. So, although people have called me crazy for this, I'm like, you just don't get it, okay? So, but again, even I wasn't trusting, because I was pushing it off, because I was like, no, let me get some deals in so I have money, so I feel secure. Again, it told me to let go of the security and fully trust. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm gonna schedule it. My finances aren't looking the best, but he's gonna provide. He's always gonna provide. And then I was met with that question that just put me in an even harder place financially. But I was like, no, I trust you. You are gonna provide. And I don't want to speak too soon because it's not official, but okay, I can share this though. I can share this part. April 8th, I announced that we were doing the first Roofs of Kindness this Friday, on Good Friday. On April 10th, I established a foundation. I had been wanting to make Roofs of Kindness into a nonprofit, but I wanted it, I want to give back as much as I can, not only roofs, but in other ways. So I decided not to call the foundation Roofs of Kindness, because I wanted it to be a little more general, because it wouldn't just be roofs. I ended up naming it Celestial Kindness Foundation, because I wanted, Celestial, because again, with the S, it makes it unique and it makes it me. And kindness, because I think I want that to be part of every project I do. So like Roofs of Kindness and whatever other projects I do, they'll incorporate the word kindness. So that will tie everything together. So April 10th, I officially established a nonprofit foundation. And God is providing. you know what? I'm going to say it because by the time I upload this, I know it'll be confirmed. I announced the roof being installed on April 8th, right? That's the day I made the announcement. I don't know if it was that night or if it was the next day, April 9. JF reached out to me and said they would donate the material if it was a nonprofit organization doing this. And I had been wanting to do this for a while. Like, it was already something I wanted to do. I just kept pushing it off. Like, I do this. I just hadn't done it because I didn't know how to do it. That was my excuse. I don't know how to do it, so I wasn't doing it. And then when I got that text, I was like, it's not a nonprofit yet. I was like, but if I get the application in, if I get it I get everything in, will that work? Because it does take 2 to 4 weeks to process completely, but I can go ahead and register it and get an EIN number like fast. So I asked them, I was like, will that be enough? I didn't get a response right away. So the next day, April 10th, I went on ChatGPT and I was like, help me do this. And ChatGPT literally walked me step by step on how to register this nonprofit. Literally, step by step. If it wasn't for ChatGPT, I wouldn't have been able to do this. So, huge shout out to ChatGPT, because ChatGPT helped me come up with Celestial Roofing too. So, shout out to him, her, it. So I established that and I sent out an email to GAF and I was like, hey, here's our EIN number. The application is in. It's just going to take 2 to 4 weeks to process. And today I got an email asking for details. They asked for the address. They asked for how many squares the roof is. So I am confident that this is going to go through. And it just goes to show how God really will provide. Like, you just got to trust. Like, I was out here just so scared to move forward with this because I knew I was going to be left in not a good position. And was holding on to that security of having the funds in my account for other things. I was like, how am I going to just give away the money that is my security right now? Because deals aren't happening yet. Oh my gosh. Today I was supposed to have a self-care day, right? Because I wanted to celebrate my 1 year of being baptized. Instead, I worked. I did go see my wax lady, but I went and did a work order. So I'm actually doing a roof Wednesday. So that was a blessing. And then I was like, okay, well, I can still go get a pedicure after this. Then I got a call to go do an inspection. So I went and did an inspection. And I was like, I couldn't have asked a better way to spend today. Like, I still got to have some self-care. I went and did this work order. And I actually talked to this homeowner for an hour. We had a heartfelt conversation. And it was just amazing. Like, I told him how, I was like, today I'm actually celebrating a year since my baptism. He was like, oh my gosh, like, that's huge. And I was like, thank you. And I was telling him a little bit about my journey. I actually knocked his door over a year ago when I was still with the other company. And he was telling me, he was like, you know, when I met you, I could tell you were a good person. I could tell you were a humble person. So when I started having issues with my roof, I called you. Like, for some reason, I held on to your card and I called you. And I remember he got hit again with hail because he had been wanting a roof for the longest, but he just didn't have the damage. He got hit, and I told him I could come out a certain day. And when I went, another roofer had already been on his roof, someone that had been working on that street. And so he started asking me a lot of questions about the materials we were using. So I knew that other roofer had given him a really good presentation because I was like, he's asking really good questions. I know that guy told him a lot. So I gave him my presentation and he was like, okay, yeah, he was like, that's basically what the other guy said. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like, this is what we do. I have a whole presentation that I actually want to do on video one day for you guys. I have a whole presentation that we do to educate homeowners on their roof. So I did that for him. he was like, okay, and he was like, what about my deductible? And that has been a huge thing too. Like, in this industry, a lot of companies eat deductibles, waive deductibles. I was taught to do that in every previous company I worked for, but it's illegal to do that. And the way a lot of companies get away with it is actually fraud. What they're doing is fraud. And I never really like processed it, because the way I would think about it was insurance companies screw over homeowners all the time, so it's only fair for us to screw them back. That was my train of thought. That was my mindset. But I started reading my Bible, right? And I'm going through this journey. And I remember I sat down with J.R. Over coffee, and I was telling him about this. I was like, I feel like I'm starting to have mixed feelings about all of this. I feel like it's wrong because I'm not being honest, even though it's insurance. Like, the way I made it right was that I'm doing right by the homeowner. I'm screwing over an insurance company that makes thousands of dollars screwing homeowners over. So that's what made it okay. But it just started to not feel right, because I was like, I'm portraying my company as a faith-based company, and as a company with integrity and honesty and transparency, and I'm not doing that if I'm lying to insurance companies. So I fought with it for a while, but I was like, you know what, like, it's the right thing to do, and as long as I'm doing the right thing, God is gonna bless me. And so when this homeowner asked me about the deductible, I was like, I can't waive your deductible. By law, you're responsible to pay for your deductible, and anyone who tells you otherwise is committing fraud. And I was like, I'm not going to jail over a deductible, and I don't think you want to go to jail over a deductible either. And he was like, oh, definitely not. And I was like, yeah. I was like, a lot of times homeowners aren't educated and don't realize that even though they might not be aware, they're participating in this. And he was like, no, thank you for saying that. Like, I don't want to do that, and I want to use you. And I was like, okay. I was like, thank you. And so today when we did the work order, we were talking about it, and he was like, I chose to work with you because I could tell, because he didn't even know that I had been saved. He was like, I didn't know you were a sister in Christ. Like I chose you before even knowing this. Like, that just makes me feel even better that I chose you. But I could just tell by the way you carried yourself and by your integrity. Like, he was like, whenever you told me about your deductible, I was like, wow, like, that's what really sold me, that I want to work with her because she's serious about her integrity. And I was like, I was actually so scared to tell you that, because I thought I was going to lose the deal. But I had decided I was going to stay true to myself and to my values, that even if it meant losing this deal. So I told him, I was so scared to tell you, because I knew you had already been talking to a roofer, and I didn't know what that other roofer had told you. I had already made peace with the fact that I might lose this deal. And he was like, no, that's actually what like sold me on you. And I was just like, wow, like God really knows what he's doing. And that's what I tell Gabe. I'm like, we're gonna lose customers, like, get used to it. We're gonna lose customers, but that's fine, because those customers weren't meant to be ours. Like, not waiving deductibles is gonna cause us to lose customers, but it's also gonna make us gain customers, just like it did with this homeowner. That was the reason why he chose to work with me. And those are the customers we want at the end of the day. Customers that share those same values. In this industry, there is going to be a lot of people that screw you over. You do a lot of free work, because we don't get paid until we get handed a check to do a roof. So everything prior to that is us working for free, hoping to get that roof. And it's tough, but I've been in the industry for so long that it still hurts when homeowners last minute switch up on you and go with someone else. But I've learned to, especially with God in my life now, like I've learned to like just give it to him, and just like, because it was just happened a few weeks ago. I don't know if this deal is gonna go through, and it was upsetting me so much because I've been to this homeowner's house like 4 times, and now that he has the check, he's being greedy. Like, homeowners turn so greedy when they have these checks in hand. And I was just like, God, like, I've done all this work, and for me not to do the roof, like, I couldn't let it go. But I was just like, God, take it away from me. Like, let me let go. Like, help me let go. Like, if this deal wasn't meant to be mine, it wasn't, and it is what it is. You're gonna bless me with other ones. Like, I trust you, and it's okay. Like, it's okay as long as I'm doing what's right. I'm still helping these homeowners out. Like, I still help them get to this point. So I did my job. I did my part. If they decide to go a different route, that's on them. That's fine. I know that what I'm doing is right, and I'm trying to do right by them. And if they don't see that, that's not on me. That's basically it. We're here now. Today I got that email. I replied to the email. So I'm hoping I'll hear back tomorrow and have a real confirmation that they are going to provide the material. And it's just amazing. Like, who would have thought? Like, a year ago, I was still with this company, and I was so so unmotivated. I was low-key depressed. Like, I had no motivation. I didn't know what I was doing. To today, I have my own company. I have an employee. I have an office. I have a foundation, a nonprofit foundation. I have a group of friends that I can share this journey with, this walk with. I have a community, a workout class where God is the center of it all. I am part of all these Bible studies, and it's just like, what? Like, who would have thought? I've been happily single for a while now. I've shared this plenty of times that I have this peace that makes no sense. Like, it's this peace I've never experienced before. I don't have the anxiety or go through my little depression phases that I used to. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I still have bad days. Like, just last week, I got off my routine so bad. Like, I think for a week and a half. Like, I was sleeping in last week because for a while I've been waking up at like 5:45 to go to the gym with my mom, and I was doing really good about that. And then I got off schedule, and I started sleeping until 7, 8, even 9. But I was still waking up and reading my Bible. Like, I was fighting back. Like I wasn't gonna let myself just fall into something, like into a depression or anything. Like, I allow myself to sleep because I'm like, maybe I need extra sleep right now. Like, that's fine. And I still try and make the best of my days. But I was a little off. And I was just praying, reading my Bible, doing other things that I needed to get done, like clean my storage, organize things. And today was day 1 of the challenge. Today I woke up early and I went to the gym. Right now it's past my bedtime. I didn't realize this was going to take this long. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but if you stick along for all of this, I love you. Thank you for watching. Because it's 11 now, and I started recording at 9. Wow. But yeah, it's just crazy. Like, I would have never thought. If you had told me any of this a year ago, I would have been like, what are you saying? Because it's just so many things have changed. Like, so many things that I would have never thought I'd be okay with, or I'd agree on, or I wouldn't be okay with anymore. Like, things that were so normal to me back then, now I'd be like, I would never do that again. Like, I would never do that. Like, that is so wrong. It changes everything. Like, your life literally does a 180. Things that I was okay with before, I'm not okay with now. Things that were normal to me then, I look at now and I'm just like, wow, like, I was just so unaware of how bad that was, or so unaware of how hurt I was, and that's why I did those things, or that's why I acted that way, or that's why, like, I just see things so much clearer, and so many setbacks I had, now I can see that it was just God redirecting me. I was in a really dark place before I even turned to God. That'll be a whole nother video about what led up to me to seek God, because I was in a really dark place, and he took me out of that. He literally saved me from that, which is why, like, I would never go back to my old self, to my old life. Like, I miss it sometimes. I do struggle with that sometimes I miss it, because I was just so carefree, and I did what I wanted when I wanted, and I loved it. But like, now I realize that I would feed off the attention I would get, and it would just feed my ego, and I just felt like I was on top of the world, and I could do whatever I wanted, because I was that bee. Like, that was my vibe, and but it led me nowhere, because I wasn't happy. Like, I thought I would convince myself that I was living my best life, but I really wasn't. And it's just so crazy how this world will make you believe that it makes sin look so normal, and following Christ so weird. And now I'm on this side, and that's me, and I'm like, you don't get it. Because when you're on the outside, you don't get it. It's just so abnormal, because sin is so normal to everyone, and you think you're just living your best life, that you only live once, right? YOLO. That was that was the reason why I made so many mistakes, because I'd follow my heart, and I'd say, well, you only live once, but your heart is deceitful, and now I know that. So anyways, I think that's enough. I'm just so grateful to be where I am today, and just so amazed at everything God has done in this past year, at the transformation, because it's just wild. It's wild. I feel like if you've witnessed this transformation, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like I don't realize how wild it is until I try and picture it from the outside. Like, I hear, like, Vanessa, like, I didn't really talk to Vanessa before, but she's been on my Instagram for years. So she's told me how she's like, yeah, like, you used to be wild. Like, I would watch your stories and be like, damn. And I'm just like, I never really, like, stop and think about that. Like, the people that have just been on the outside watching it all happen, like, how crazy has it all been? Like, it really, when I stop and think about it, it's been a crazy crazy transformation. And like, the people that have met me in this past year, I'm like, you don't know who I was before Christ. You have no idea. You didn't get to meet Spicy Sil. Spicy Sil was a vibe, but she was also bad. She will be missed. We need to come up with a new version. Because I'm living this life now doesn't mean I won't go out and have fun, right? Like, that's not what this is about. Like, it's just, you're more aware of what you do and how you do it. And being blacked out drunk is not it anymore. Or being on drugs is not it anymore. So, yeah. that's enough. That's enough. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Welcome back to my channel. I didn't even announce that I decided to name the podcast Holy with a Hint of Havoc, because I love what it stands for. Like, because yeah, I'm on this journey, but it doesn't make it perfect. It doesn't make me perfect. It's still gonna be bumpy. I'm still gonna make mistakes. I'm still gonna fall down, but I'm gonna pick myself right back up, and I'm gonna pick up my cross and keep following God, regardless of how many times I drop it, how many times I fall. I'm gonna get right back up and keep going. So yeah, I hope this is encouraging. The whole point of this really is just, it's mainly for me. I'll get to watch this years later and be like, wow, like, that Sylvia didn't know she'd be here, you know? But if along the way I can help anyone, I can encourage anyone, or make anyone feel seen or not alone, like, that's amazing. And if you want to check out Shoreline and have no one to go with, like, hit me up. Or if you're a girly and you want to come to Move in Faith, like, DM me, show up, anything. But I'm making this longer than it needs to be. So thank you guys. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all at the next episode. Bye.